Okay, I did a screen recording of the last piece, but apparently my microphone was off. So let me do this next one. So Robert sent us grading sketches this morning, and this happens frequently. And so you might already know these things, but I'm going to go over how we input those into CAD, so that in case you have any questions or if there's a difference in how we do things, then you'll be aware of it up front. So I already did this bunker, the fairway bunker on number 1, and now we are on the green of hole number 1. So first things first is getting features into place. So as you can see, we've got bunkers that have been shifted from where we had them on the master plan. In some cases, it might be worth just moving the lines. You could grab these and you could move the points, but as you can see here, this one has a lot of points, and so that is not worth doing. So we're just going to delete the entire thing and go to L, Golf, PR, Sand, and draw a new bunker. I'm going to turn F12 off. So we're going to draw, that's the wrong line. We're following the black line. All right, new bunker. Let's double click, spline, done. Going to do that for all 3 of these bunkers, and I will pause this recording and come back when that's done. Okay, we're back. We have these 3 bunkers in. I had the thought, if you ever see a bunker, or not just a bunker, if you ever see a feature that isn't showing the line type, so this has a dash dot line type, one of the culprits might be here in the properties under miscellaneous. Line type generation might be disabled, in which case it's not going to show the line type. So if you're ever seeing that, that's a good first place to check, is if the line type generation is enabled or not. Okay, next is getting these contour lines in. So there's a few keys while we are doing that. We go to C, Topo, PR. I always just select the minor because most contour lines are minor, and then you can go through and you can manually select the major ones and just change the layer and the properties. So I'm just going to use a normal polyline, and one of the keys is making sure that you don't just click near it. If you just click near it, or if you just try and click on it like this, it's not going to take the properties, because these polylines, here, let me show you. This polyline has an elevation of 89 in its properties. So if I try to just click close, even if I were perfect for somehow, and I got perfectly on it, this new polyline has an elevation of 0. It doesn't have that data in there. So instead, what you need to make sure to do is always have your snaps on, which is down here, or you can use F3 to turn that on and off. And nearest, endpoint, midpoint, those are usually the best ones. Intersection, apparent intersection, I really like. These are the ones I really like, but you want to change them based on what project and what you're doing specifically. So you can actually snap. You can see the green box or triangle or whatever it is pop up. You're going to snap and then turn off your snaps so that you don't accidentally snap to everything else. And then you're just going to trace this contour line out with a polyline. Make sure that the first couple points that you're really like bringing this line in smooth, because ultimately that's going to be the case once we build it. So you just trace the line and connect it again at the end, making sure to turn your snap back on before you connect it. So there's your line, and now elevation 89, it is snapped on both ends. That's super helpful for if we go to 3D, because it makes it so that I can explain it in a different video, but it's really helpful. You need to have it snapped at both ends. AutoCAD is a tool of precision, and so we can use it as a tool of precision. So that's how you do it for all of these. You go through, you trace all of them, If you get, and because you're snapping, they will have the elevation attached. If you are, I'm going to turn my snaps off. If you're doing a closed polyline like this one, a closed contour line, then you will just trace the whole line. Close. And now this, because we didn't snap it to anything, has an elevation of 0, so you need to make sure that you fix this by putting in the correct elevation. So double click, 91, enter, and now this has an elevation of 91. Again, that's important because then it makes it so we can go in, we can check it, we can make sure that everything's right, and if we were to take this into 3D, this is actually has an elevation for creating a terrain. You can always convert these to splines immediately if you wanted. You can double click by using the polyline edit. Move this. You can double click by using polyline edit and then go S for spline. Oh, I'm off of it. S for spline. And that'll convert to a spline. Or you can wait, you can trace these out, and then you can do P edit and do multiple, and you can select multiple lines and then do S for spline. Okay, I'm going to go through and I'm going to trace the rest of these out, and I will pause this recording and be back in just a second. Okay, I'm back and I have traced out all of these contour lines. So the next thing to do is these low points, these low lines. So this is the bottom of bunker 85. Oh, well, I guess the first thing to do would be to select all of these that are major lines. I actually think I might have a Lisp created that selects majors, but it selects majors on everything. So a Lisp could do this for you. But basically, you're going to go through, you select all the major lines, so 88, 89, 90, 85, 85, 84, 84, 86, 84, 83, 88, 86. All right, that's all of them. So you're going to go through, you select all of these, and you move them onto the major layer. All right, next is these depressions. You need the depression marks. And so whatever layer you're on, this one is easier to just do correctly. So I just go to the major layer because it's a major contour, select polyline, turn on your snaps, make sure that your snaps are on. You can do it with this button or F3. Snap to this line and just go out and do, I think on this one I usually do 1.5. So just type in, so click and then 1.5, enter, enter to close it. And I just do enter again to keep it going. 1.5, enter, enter, enter. Oops, nope. Enter, right there. 1.5, enter, and we're done. So you do that for all these, for each bunker, for each depression. So we've got 1, 2, 3 more depressions. I'm going to put those in, and I will come back on. All right, the contour lines are all in. The depression marks are in. The next thing to do is to label these contours. You could create mText labels, put them on, change the label for all of these, but this is where Lisps come in handy. So, actually, let me check this. Yeah. So, the Lisp that I have created, which I can share with you, is label contour PR. You see two of them. Don't worry about that. Label contour PR. So select a contour to label. You come in, select the label. They are supposed to be. It's supposed to automatically go onto this layer, but it obviously is not going to. So I'm just going to go to CANO PR text. It's for civil annotations proposed text. Unfortunately, this command I have not figured out a way to get it to just continually go. So you do it, and now when you label something, you just click enter and it'll run the command again. So you just click all over these. So you don't ever want to over label something because it just gets confusing. So for instance, this line only needs one label. This line really only needs one label. These lines are going to need multiple because it gets confusing. Like if I'm looking here, it's hard to trace that all the way back over there. So it's kind of labeling things based on common sense, what you understand, trying to help it so that if a contractor were to look at this, when a contractor looks at this, it's as easy as possible to understand what's going on. So I'm going to label the rest of these, and I'm going to pause and get back. All right, so all the contour lines are now labeled. And the next, another piece that we need to get on here is this red line, which is the limit of disturbance, which is the area that the contractor knows that they are not allowed to go outside of that and destroy or rip up grass or move any earth. So this limit of disturbance, so the limit of disturbance is C construction PR limit of disturbance. And again, we're just going to use a polyline. I'll turn my snaps off right now. And limit of disturbance lines can generally be straight. On situations like this, we can make them curved. Sometimes you might want to lead it right up to a feature, and then you use different ways of doing it. Anyway, so limit of disturbance, you're just going to draw. I actually really like, just because I'm OCD about stuff like this, I really like these to be, if this is curved, I don't want the spline to bring the curve into here. So I always I'd start it here, draw the curved line first. And the reason that this is on the green is because we're going to be expanding the screen. Let's draw the curved line first until you get to the point where it's turning straight again, and spline it now. And then use this and use your snaps. Snap it to the endpoint, turn your snaps off, and then come up here. And the biggest and the most important thing for this limit of disturbance is that we have the limit of disturbance far enough away that all of these contours and all the earthwork that's going to happen is within the limit of disturbance. You don't have to follow these lines perfectly. Like for here example, you don't have to come down here. You can just jump to here. We do want to minimize the excess because all the excess is we're going to calculate as rough sod that needs to come in. And we want to be careful that we don't put too much rough sod in there. For ones like this, I'm not even going to spline this edge. I'm just going to bring it in like this. I might spline this next edge, so I'm going to end this command, turn my snaps back on, snap, turn snaps off, so that I can come in and spline it. It's not super important. Again, I just think that it looks nice, and construction documents are as efficient as they are artistic, in my opinion. Restart the polyline, snap it to the endpoint, turn off my snaps, just start coming in here. We're actually going to expand. So Robert drew it to here, but we're actually going to expand this fairway all the way back there. So I'm going to come to there and then do another line, which I'm going to draw curved. Which again, curved lines just means I'm drawing them jagged, and I'm going to convert them to splines after. Drawing it just outside the edge because we are going to need a strip of rough that comes in here. Right to there, spline it, snaps, down to there, turn my snaps off. This can just come all the way through here, back to where we were. This can actually follow this because there's really no reason for this to come all the way out here because we're not doing any work out there. We are doing work in here because this is not fairway currently. So that's where this is coming from. All right. Yeah, let's make this next one a P-line or a spline eventually. So polyline, snap, draw it jagged along this edge, and then outside of these contour lines. This is not pipe, this is just a sketch to show where the water is going to go in the end. So we'll go to there, spline, snap, a new polyline, endpoint. This one is also going to curve just along the outside of this fairway. This new fairway line until we get to the sharp corner, spline, and snap to the end and to the end. Okay, then you can just click one, select similar. I guess you have to click the spline also, select similar. It's going to select all of those lines that I just did. It also selected the ones that I did before, and then use the join command, and they will all be joined into one closed polyline. All right, let's see what's next. Next is going to be to label this limit of disturbance. So again, I have a Lisp set up for this, and I do label line, and it asks for a text input, limit of disturbance, and then it asks for locations, and I wanted this on a different layer, so this is going to be on C, ANO, PR, text, and then you run that command again, and you keep going until you have all of these labeled. I'm going to pause this and do that, and then I'll come back. All right, next is adding drainage. So every bunker is going to have some level of drainage pipe in it. Let's start with this one because it is sketched. So there are two main types of drainage pipe that we use. We use solid pipe and perforated pipe. Solid pipe is just what it sounds like, and perforated pipe has holes in one side of it so that when the trench that we put the pipe in, because when we build this, we'll have the level of the bunker, and then we will have a trench dug down, fill the bottom of that with some gravel, and then we'll put the perforated pipe on top of that, fill gravel in with the rest of it, and then have bunker sand on top of that. The perforations, just FYI, turn to the bottom of the pipe instead of the top because we want it so that if the bunker starts to fill up with water, if that trench starts to fill with water, the water can enter that pipe from the bottom rather than having to fill all the way to the top before starting to enter the pipe. It's not super important for this, but interesting to know. So go to C, drain, PR, perforated, and you're going to start at the top of the bunker, highest point of the bunker, and draw this pipe in as few of jagged pieces as you can. Really, you're only changing the direction of the pipe when we do major directional changes. So you come down here, and then we're going to go this way. This is going to be, because this is a depression, this is going to be a drainage outlet, like an inlet. And so we want to make sure that we have an endpoint here because it's just easy to snap to. It's coming over here, and then it continues downhill until we get to there. Now, not all of this is perforated pipe. It's only perforated when it's in the bunker. So we have to use break at point, turn on your snaps, and break it at that endpoint. So now this piece is perforated. This piece we need to change to be solid. And the rest of that is all solid. Every bunker also is going to have a 4-inch flush out up on top, which is just, it's a point where you have an entrance to that pipe, basically. And so I have a block created over here. You can copy that, and you can copy the note. Select the center of it, again, using snaps. CAD is designed to be precise, so there's no reason to just guess at what the center is. And then when you're putting it back down, snapping it to that endpoint so that it's perfectly aligned. You can then move the body of this text just so that it looks better into somewhere that isn't in the way. And now there you go. Now we also have 2 arms on this bunker, which are going to be perforated pipe because we're within the limits of the bunker. So you go from here, and then you turn on snaps so that you can snap it exactly to that line. Turn off snaps, turn on snaps, which again can be F3 on your keyboard or this button down here, and then snap it to that line. Sometimes you'll get bunkers here that don't have it drawn in. That's why it's important to understand how the mechanics of a bunker work. I'm sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Important to understand how the mechanics of a bunker work. Because what you're going to do is you're always going to start at the highest point of the bunker, or the high side of the bunker, I should say, which here is anywhere along this edge. 86 is this contour. This one's 87, that one's 87. So we are going to start this up here, and we're just going to come down to here, going downhill there. I mean, this is a little bit uphill, but this is, I guess, the very bottom of this bunker. But we come to here, and then we're going to exit out this direction. Now, here, we have this line here. We could try to just line it up, but again, AutoCAD is precise. So we're going to go out to here, and then we're just going to take this other line with the endpoint and move it with our object snaps and snap it to that line so that we can be precise. Yet again, we want to do break at a point, and we're going to break it right at this intersection where it is no longer bunker, and this is solid pipe. We also want to be able to cover this entire bunker, so we go like this, and we want to put arms in this bunker, drainage arms in this bunker, which we want to flow downhill, and we want to flow the direction that hopefully either perpendicular with the pipe or the direction that the pipe is flowing, so that it can function as good as possible. And there we go. And then we'll do the same thing for this one. So again, we're going to go from high side down into the bottom of the bunker, and then out, connecting, tying in right there to this drain line. And then you break at a point, snap it to the intersection here, and this one is 4-inch solid. This bunker is not going to have any arms because of how small it is. Don't forget that we do flesh outs. I don't like that this isn't snapped to the center, just again, or really to the rim, just for visual appeal. Let's copy, oops, copy from that endpoint, because each bunker, so yeah, so when you're starting up here, you're not starting right at the edge of the bunker, you're starting a little bit out of the bunker, because there needs to be a location for this flesh out. And then move the note so that it doesn't interfere with anything. We'll probably mask these notes in the end so they're easier to read. Move this to there. So this one's not showing an arrow because it's too close. So we'll just back it up a little bit like that. Okay, we've got drainage. Now we need to label the drainage, which again, I have label line 4-inch perforated, which I'm like, oh, nope, nope, nope. Oh, okay. Label line 4-inch P. I'm going to copy that text just so that I can do it again. So 4-inch perforated, snapping, and on the correct layer, CNO PR text. And then label line. Nope. All right, so that doesn't work. So label line. I've tried getting this command to just let me keep clicking places, and I have not been successful yet. Let me finish these ones. 4-inch P. Another one, enter. 4-inch S. And you continue labeling. I'm going to label the rest of these off camera, and I will be back. All right, and then really the last few things we need to be doing is adding notes to this plan. So we want to add square footage to the bunkers. One thing that I have built is label feature closed shapes, which will allow you to select the polyline that you want to label and select a location for the label. 769 square feet. But I also have it set up where you can label non-closed areas. So for instance, we have all of these shapes, which are just the borders because we have all this new fairway. So I'm going to isolate those, isolate objects, and then I'm going to do label. My video is almost out of time, so really fast. Label feature area unclosed areas internal, and then I can select these internal areas and do I want to add a label? So that's how I do that. I'd say yes, and I pick a location, it would add the label, but I'm actually probably not going to do it like this because I probably just want one label up here for all of it. So I can show you that in a different video. And then you unisolate objects to show the rest of it. Make sure you're saving your work. And this video is out of time, so I'm going to call it there.